Which covenant did God establish with Abraham, promising him land, descendants, and blessing? A. Covenant of Sinai. B. Covenant of grace. C. Abrahamic covenant. The correct answer is Abrahamic covenant. What was the primary reason for the Israelites' enslavement in Egypt? A. Their refusal to convert to Egyptian polytheism. B. Their growing population and perceived threat. C. Their involvement in a rebellion against the Pharaoh. The correct answer is their growing population and perceived threat. How long did the Israelites wander in the wilderness after escaping Egypt, according to the Bible? A. 40 years. B. 20 years. C. 10 years. The correct answer is 40 years. Which biblical figure led the Israelites into the Promised Land after Moses' death? A. Aaron. B. Joshua. C. Caleb. The correct answer is Joshua. During the period of the Judges, how did the Israelites typically respond to oppression? A. They consistently remained unified and loyal to God. B. They cried out to God for deliverance, often falling into apostasy afterward. C. They formed a standing army to protect themselves. The correct answer is they cried out to God for deliverance, often falling into apostasy afterward. Who is considered the first king of a united Israel? A. Saul. B. David. C. Solomon. The correct answer is Saul. Which event marked the beginning of the divided kingdom of Israel? A. The death of Moses. B. The death of Solomon. C. The conquest of Canaan. The correct answer is the death of Solomon. What was the name of the Babylonian king who destroyed Jerusalem and exiled the Israelites? A. Nebuchadnezzar II. B. Cyrus the Great. C. Ramses II. The correct answer is Nebuchadnezzar II. Approximately how many years did the Babylonian exile last? A. 20 years. B. 70 years. C. 100 years. The correct answer is 70 years. What significant religious practice was developed during the Babylonian exile, shaping Jewish life and identity for centuries to come? A. The practice of animal sacrifice. B. The establishment of the Sanhedrin. C. Synagogue worship. The correct answer is synagogue worship. Who anointed Saul as the first king of Israel? A. Samuel. B. Eli. C. Nathan. The correct answer is Samuel. Which pivotal battle solidified David's reign and established Jerusalem as the capital? A. Battle of Jericho. B. Battle of Megiddo. C. Battle of Jerusalem. The correct answer is Battle of Jerusalem. What significant architectural feat is associated with King Solomon's reign? A. The Temple Mount. B. The Western Wall. C. The Temple in Jerusalem. The correct answer is the Temple in Jerusalem. Which prophet famously confronted Ahab, the king of Israel, about his idolatry? A. Elijah. B. Isaiah. C. Jeremiah. The correct answer is Elijah. The division of the kingdom after Solomon's death resulted in which two kingdoms? A. Israel and Judah. B. Israel and Edom. C. Judah and Moab. The correct answer is Israel and Judah. Which prophet is credited with the vision of a valley of dry bones coming back to life, symbolizing Israel's restoration? A. Ezekiel. B. Daniel. C. Hosea. The correct answer is Ezekiel. What event is considered a key moment of divine intervention that secured victory for the Israelites against the Philistines during the time of Samuel? A. The parting of the Red Sea. B. The fall of Jericho. C. The earthquake and thunder at Ebenezer. The correct answer is the earthquake and thunder at Ebenezer. Which prophet's writings emphasize social justice and God's concern for the poor and oppressed? A. Amos. B. Jonah. C. Micah. The correct answer is Amos. Which king of Judah is known for his extensive reforms and attempts to restore the religious purity of Israel? A. Hezekiah. B. Josiah. C. Manasseh. The correct answer is Josiah. What significant spiritual revival is associated with the ministry of Josiah? A. The discovery of the Book of the Law. B. The destruction of the golden calf. C. The building of the second temple. The correct answer is the discovery of the Book of the Law. Which covenant established the foundational relationship between God and the Israelites, outlining blessings for obedience and curses for disobedience? A. Covenant of Sinai. B. Davidic covenant. C. Abrahamic covenant. The correct answer is Abrahamic covenant. The golden calf incident in Exodus best exemplifies which pattern in Old Testament history? A. Obedience and blessing. B. Rebellion and judgment. C. Restoration and renewal. The correct answer is rebellion and judgment. Which king's reign is often cited as a period of unparalleled prosperity and obedience to God in Israel's history? A. King Saul. B. King Solomon. C. King Ahab. The correct answer is King Solomon. The exile to Babylon served as what stage in the cyclical pattern of Old Testament history? A. Obedience. B. Rebellion. C. Judgment. The correct answer is judgment. The prophets of Israel, such as Isaiah and Jeremiah, primarily served what role in the nation's history? A. Military leaders. B. Religious advisors. C. Political strategists. The correct answer is religious advisors. The return from exile under Cyrus the Great represents which aspect of the cyclical pattern? A. Rebellion. B. Judgment. C. Restoration. The correct answer is restoration. What theological significance is associated with the Davidic covenant? A. The promise of a future Messiah. B. The establishment of the Levitical priesthood. C. The giving of the Ten Commandments. The correct answer is the promise of a future Messiah. The period of the Judges is characterized by what pattern? A. Consistent obedience to God. B. A cycle of sin, repentance, and deliverance. C. The establishment of a powerful monarchy. The correct answer is a cycle of sin, repentance, and deliverance. Which event signified the ultimate judgment and restoration in the Old Testament narrative? A. The Exodus from Egypt. B. The destruction of the First Temple. C. The resurrection of Jesus Christ. The correct answer is the destruction of the First Temple. The concept of a remnant in prophetic literature refers to A. Those who fully obeyed God's commands. B. A small group who remained faithful during times of apostasy. C. The foreign nations who conquered Israel. The correct answer is a small group who remained faithful during times of apostasy. How did the covenant between God and Abraham, promising land and descendants, intersect with the political realities of Canaanite occupation? A. It immediately resulted in the conquest of Canaan, fulfilling the promise swiftly. B. It created a long-term struggle for land and identity, involving both divine intervention and human agency. C. It had no impact on the political landscape, remaining purely a spiritual agreement. The correct answer is, it created a long-term struggle for land and identity, involving both divine intervention and human agency. The Exodus from Egypt is often seen as a pivotal moment. How did God's deliverance of the Israelites demonstrate both divine power and human responsibility? A. God acted alone, with no required participation from the Israelites. B. The Israelites' faith was irrelevant, God's power alone secured their freedom. C. God's power freed them, but their faith and obedience were crucial for navigating subsequent challenges. The correct answer is, God's power freed them, but their faith and obedience were crucial for navigating subsequent challenges. The giving of the law at Sinai is central to Jewish tradition. What aspect of the law highlights the tension between divine sovereignty and human responsibility? A. The law completely negated human free will. B. The law offered a clear path to salvation irrespective of human actions. C. The law's commandments demanded obedience, reflecting both God's authority and human accountability. The correct answer is, the law's commandments demanded obedience, reflecting both God's authority and human accountability. How did the monarchy, beginning with Saul, affect the relationship between God's promises and the political realities of Israel? A. It completely fulfilled God's promises immediately. B. It was irrelevant to God's promises. C. It introduced new political complexities, impacting the fulfillment, or lack thereof, of God's promises. The correct answer is, it introduced new political complexities, impacting the fulfillment, or lack thereof, of God's promises. The Davidic covenant promised a lasting dynasty. How did human choices affect the realization of this promise? A. Human actions had no bearing on the covenant's fulfillment. B. The covenant was fully realized despite human failings. C. Human sin and disobedience led to periods of instability and division, impacting the dynasty's longevity. The correct answer is, human sin and disobedience led to periods of instability and division, impacting the dynasty's longevity. The exile to Babylon is a significant event. How did it challenge the Israelites' understanding of God's faithfulness to his promises? A. It proved God's promises were false. B. It reinforced the immediate, unconditional nature of God's promises. C. It forced a reevaluation of the nature and timing of God's promises, prompting reflection on their faithfulness amidst suffering. The correct answer is, it forced a reevaluation of the nature and timing of God's promises, prompting reflection on their faithfulness amidst suffering. The return from exile under Cyrus is often seen as a fulfillment of prophecy. How does this event illustrate God's sovereignty working through human agency? A. Cyrus acted independently of God's will. B. God's plan was independent of human involvement. C. God used a Gentile ruler, Cyrus, to fulfill his promises to his people. The correct answer is, God used a Gentile ruler, Cyrus, to fulfill his promises to his people. The rebuilding of the temple played a crucial role in the post-exilic period. How did this project reflect the interplay between God's promises and human efforts? A. The temple was built solely by divine intervention. B. The temple's reconstruction had no religious significance. C. The rebuilding demonstrated both God's continued commitment and the people's active participation in fulfilling his promises. The correct answer is, the rebuilding demonstrated both God's continued commitment and the people's active participation in fulfilling his promises. How did the prophets, e.g., Isaiah, Jeremiah, contribute to understanding the interplay between God's sovereignty and human responsibility in Israel's history? A. They primarily focused on abstract theological concepts, ignoring historical events. B. They ignored human actions and solely emphasized God's ultimate control. C. They challenged the people's actions, urging repentance while affirming God's ultimate plan and mercy. The correct answer is, they challenged the people's actions, urging repentance while affirming God's ultimate plan and mercy. The concept of chosen people is often associated with Israel. How does this concept relate to both divine privilege and human responsibility? A. It implies an exclusive privilege without any accompanying obligations. B. It implies no special responsibilities, only privileges. C. It implies a unique responsibility to live out God's will and be a blessing to the nations. The correct answer is, it implies a unique responsibility to live out God's will and be a blessing to the nations. Which archaeological discovery is most strongly associated with the biblical account of the Exodus, despite ongoing scholarly debate? A. The Telephone Dan stele. B. The Dead Sea Scrolls. C. The Merneptah stele. The correct answer is, the Merneptah stele. What significant ancient Near Eastern empire exerted the most profound influence on the early Israelite monarchy, as evidenced by archaeological finds like city fortifications and administrative structures? A. The Assyrian Empire. B. The Babylonian Empire. C. The Egyptian Empire. The correct answer is, the Egyptian Empire. The development of Israelite monotheism is often contrasted with the polytheistic religions of the ancient Near East. What characteristic best distinguishes Israelite monotheism from its contemporaries? A. Emphasis on ritual sacrifice. B. Concept of a personal God. C. Exclusive worship of a single deity. The correct answer is, exclusive worship of a single deity. Archaeological evidence from sites like Megiddo and Hazor reveals advanced urban planning and infrastructure during the Israelite monarchy. What technology or practice is most closely associated with this development? A. Ironworking. B. Pottery production. C. Irrigation systems. The correct answer is ironworking. Which biblical figure's reign is supported by archaeological evidence such as the telephone Dan stele, although the extent of the kingdom remains debated? A. King David. B. King Solomon. C. King Saul. The correct answer is King David. The discovery of numerous ostraka, inscribed pottery shards, in Israel sheds light on what aspect of ancient Israelite life? A. Religious beliefs. B. Daily economic transactions. C. Royal decrees. The correct answer is daily economic transactions. How did the influence of Canaanite culture impact early Israelite society, according to archaeological and textual evidence? A. Complete rejection of Canaanite practices. B. Full integration without any cultural distinction. C. A blend of Canaanite and Israelite traditions. The correct answer is a blend of Canaanite and Israelite traditions. The Dead Sea Scrolls offer invaluable insight into what aspect of ancient Israelite history and religion? A. Early Israelite political structures. B. The development of Jewish law and theology. C. Daily life in ancient Jerusalem. The correct answer is the development of Jewish law and theology. What archaeological evidence suggests a significant link between the biblical patriarchs and the historical development of the Israelite people? A. The existence of widespread monotheism in the Bronze Age. B. The discovery of patriarchal tombs with inscribed artifacts. C. The presence of early Israelite settlements in the Canaanite region. The correct answer is the presence of early Israelite settlements in the Canaanite region. The destruction of Jerusalem by the Babylonians in 586 BCE is well documented in both biblical texts and archaeological findings. What feature of the archaeological record best confirms the scale of this destruction? A. Intact city walls. B. Absence of pottery from that period. C. Extensive evidence of fire and destruction. The correct answer is extensive evidence of fire and destruction.